Welcome back to LDB Games. I'm Lord Darth Balls, and this is going to be a video about Trunda GILTMALLET. If you watched my recent shard pull video, I pulled Legendary, but I happened to pull my third Trunda, so I wasn't very happy about it, naturally. However, if you pull Trunda, she is an incredible champion, right? You can see I even have two of them built. One of them isn't fully finished yet. She still needs her masteries. But because of how many nukers I have on my account at this point, it hasn't become much of a priority for me to invest time and resources. Not to mention, my main one is built pretty well. You can see I even have the Ice Drake skin for her, which is pretty fresh. I would love this one too, but I'm a little calculated when I spend money in this game. So I only really spend it on certain things. I think her normal skin is pretty legit overall, personally. I mean, she's got a hammer that makes me think of, like, Thor. And she is a diesel dwarf. I mean, like, nobody should pick a fight with this chick. And, like, good luck going toe-to-toe on leg day with her, because that ain't happening. Her kit is really cool. And there's a couple different ways that you can build her. I really only build her in one, personally, but that's up to you. Her A1 is a double hitter, 50 chance, books up to 60 of placing a stun, which is kind of cool. One of the ways you build her is without accuracy, so this doesn't really happen very often. Her A2 is a single target, and then will attack every other enemy with a second hit, dealing 60% of the damage from the first hit. Now, the way this is coded on the back end is that the other hits are all classified as single hits. They're not AoEs, which means any passives that reduce AoE damage won't reduce the damage from the second hit, which is pretty cool. Makes her kind of useful for going up against Duchess, specifically. Her affinity helps her out, too. Her A3 is an AoE. It has a 70% chance of placing a stun. Now, it places an HP burn on enemies under stun debuffs, but it will place an extra hit on enemies not under stun. Let's remember that for a second. And then her passive doesn't really come into play for me, at least. This champion's resistance increases by 10 for each stun debuff this champion places on an enemy. Stacks across each round up to 100, which is kind of cool. And this champion's speed increases by 5 for each enemy currently under an HP burn. Only counts active burns and stacks up to 15. Trunda is a damage dealer. Through and through. She is one of the hardest hitting champions in the game, with both of her A3 and her A2. Her passive and the debuffs on her kit are if you build her not as a damage dealer. Right? So let's think about this for a second. If you have an AoE HP burn stun, where is that perfect for? Spider. If you're putting AoE HP burns and stuns out, you don't want to kill the spiderlings because you want them to take their turn on the stun, take the burn, and do damage to the main spider. So you want to build her with as little damage as possible and as much accuracy as possible as well. However, because her multipliers are so high, I try to keep her accuracy as low as possible. So I've got her running almost 5k attack. She's at 207 speed, so relatively quick. And she's got 223 crit damage. I would like this to be a little bit higher, but I haven't rebuilt her because I don't really need to. I pulled a couple really good legendary nukers, and she sort of fell down in priority. Being magic affinity means, all of those forced champions that you face in the arena, you're not really doing such a good job against. You have a chance of weak hits. And you notice I got her only 100 accuracy, so I don't want any of her debuffs hitting because I want her full power. In terms of her masteries, let me move myself out of the way because this is the offense tree that we really want to focus on. So, obviously, crit rate, crit damage, increased damage inflicted by 5% when attacking with full HP. I do have her typically running in a speed team, so she's pretty quick. 207 is fast for a nuker. Arena nukers you really want living between 180 and like 200, 210. But the faster the better at the end of the day if you can maintain the amount of damage. I have Whirlwind of Death here to increase her speed for enemies killed. Enemies that she kills, excuse me. So if she comes through, kills 3 out of 4, she'll scoop up an extra 18 speed, which is nice, helping her come back around. Ruthless Ambush is necessary for any arena nuker. 8% for the first hit on an enemy. Increases damage by 5% for each dead ally. Usually this doesn't come into big play for arena nukers, but I'll show you why this is a little bit more impactful on the way I built her. Increases damage inflicted by 6% when attacking targets with higher max HP. She actually has very high base HP, but this still will add damage to most champions. Increases damage inflicted when she kills people. Obviously, right, more damage is more damage. I took Blood Shield, places a shield on her when she kills an enemy, and it's equal to 15% of her max HP. So it's not huge, but it gives her a little bit extra protection, especially considering how I have her built. I'll get to it in just a second. And Helm Smasher for a chance to ignore defense. I had her running Flawless Execution for a little while, but I really like that chance of ignoring 25% of the defense of the enemy, which is pretty incredible. Defense tree, pretty simple, right? Damage mitigation, some resistance, some increased amount of healing and value of shields, heals them when they kill an enemy, reduces damage from specific champions, and has a chance to counterattack when she takes a big hit. Now, I keep talking about how she's built, right? What I did, and you may have caught it when I was going over her stats before, but what I did was I actually put her in Swift Parry. Swift Parry is an interesting set. It's kind of fallen out of the meta with the birth of Stone Skin, but it gives you 18 speed, 30 crit damage, and a 50-50 chance of placing an unkillable on yourself when you're about to die. So this comes into play in a couple of different ways. One, if I get beat out in the speed race, if I lose the speed race, and she procs the Swift Parry, she can just mop up. She is strong against the right teams. Against heavy defense, tanky teams, maybe not so much. Some of them, sure, if they're not built well. But there are a lot of teams that she can just wipe out with one fell swoop after the whole team has died. And part of that is this Wrath of the Slain. Because if somebody wipes out my team and her Swift Parry procs, it means she's at 1 HP and everyone's dead. That's 3 dead allies. That's an extra chunk of damage that she can do, which is pretty cool if you think about it. I haven't yet been able to switch her into crit damage gloves, which is really the next big change on her, because her crit damage is low 200s. I would want this up by where my big nukers are, right? Just to show you, my 2 big nukers are in Savage. No, my big nuker in Savage is Hegemon with 270, and I have Leo not in Savage 258. So she's a little low in terms of the damage, in terms of her crit damage, but she's not my main nuker anymore, so I haven't wanted to spend the silver on changing gear. Changing gear is so expensive. I'm thinking about doing it on the next free gear swap, if depending on if they do it again. It's been a little while. But I think that's enough about her kit. Let's show her off in the arena. This is the team I'm going to be running her in. I've recorded a number of fights on my journey up to the top of Gold 5. You'll notice this is a speed team. As you get closer to Plat, speed teams become less and less effective. So I wanted to showcase her as much as I could. We've got Arbiter coming in at 349 to hopefully win the speed race. Madame Cerise comes in second, running 309. She is tuned in to Arbiter, so nobody can cut in. With her A3 to strip any buffs, put decreased defense and decreased attack out. We've got Umbral coming in at 289. She's not quite speed tuned. I don't know. I don't really have the gear right now to stretch to that. So sometimes they get cut in on, but it's not too bad. She comes in with her A3 to provoke for anyone that is faster than my Trunda. And then coming in with the big damage is Trunda GILTMALLET with one of her 2 big hits. So, like I said, I've got a number of fights. I'll cut to them right now. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. I appreciate the view. Don't forget to check out my channel and the poll I've got going on. I'm going to be starting a free-to-play Doom Tower series, and I'm going to start a brand new account to do it. And we're going to track and work through the journey to get to and completing the Doom Tower as the primary priority on that account. So go ahead, vote on which champion you think I should start with. I've been Lord Darth Balls. I'll catch you on the next video. Enjoy your raid.